Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the dirt track at Charlotte for the World of Outlaws Late Model Invitational presented by Swag. My name is Nolan Rample. I've got Mr. Greg Rentz beside me in the commentary box and Cody Wooten downstairs in the producer's chair. This is, of course, going to be yet our third race now of the day, and I'll tell you what, Greg, we have got a full night ahead of us, a scheduled 4 heats, 8 laps each, followed by 2 Consolation races, 12 laps apiece, before a 100-lap feature race tonight. With 30 drivers getting set to rumble here tonight, I have a feeling that we are in for a very special treat.
This should be a wild one, Nolan. A long night of racing here at the Charlotte track here for the Dirt Late Models. It's the World of Outlaws Swag Invitational. Going to be an insane night of racing. Like you mentioned, a long night of racing, so it's going to be a fun one here at Charlotte.
And already qualifying is underway. 5 minutes, 2 laps to set the starting grid for the 4 heat races today. A couple drivers already on track, among them Jeffrey McConey, who was one of the drivers that, well, he was on the lower end in the practice sessions. In fact, 4 spots up from last place and the second to last driver in the 16-second bracket. Yet times ranging from the low 15.2s to the low 18 seconds. So about 3-second differences in the practice session, at least. The question is, how will things shape out for qualifying? Brad Dyer puts it the first time, a 16.260.
So setting the bar, 16.260, like you mentioned, as we go down. Qualifying is underway. 5-minute qualifying session here for our Dirt Late Models, and going to be a fun race here tonight, Nolan. There's a big slide there as they're trying to just lay down a lap right now. A lot of racing to come here tonight, so we're just trying to get a good start. You're trying to get a good start to your night and get yourself good positioning for those heat races.
And good positioning can be very key because, as any dirt driver will know, it is certainly not an easy feat to pass these cars. But right now, Chris Fisher is on the pole, one of a few drivers to break into that 15-second range. He's right now sitting with a 15.551. That is about 3/10 slower than his fastest practice lap should know, and he is not going to improve on that second lap. So he's going to be stuck where he is. So right now, that number 5 car on provisional pole, but there were several times, should note, that were faster than him. But as well as this, he was the fastest driver in practice. The track was also reworked just before qualifying, so maybe that has got to do anything with the changed track conditions.
It very well could, as qualifying continues. That's the thing about dirt track racing. Very complicated because the track is going to change every time you hit the track. Every lap that hits, you're running it different. So it goes out, changes constantly, so you got to find the happy medium of the balancing act, finding where the track is fast this particular lap. And that's what makes dirt track racing so much different than what you see on the Northwest Cup side like I'm used to, or the short track side here on the paved circuit, road course racing. Dirt track racing is a whole different animal compared to the rest of the series.
Let's talk about the format a little bit going into this one. Of course, I think the big highlight of this event is going to be that 100-lap feature race. It's certainly a lot longer than, a lot of these dirt oval races we usually see on the surface. I mean, for the most part, you end up with only 30, 40-lap features. I mean, the World of Outlaws World Championship Series in one of those IRC World Championships, even they've only got, a 40-lap main event. They don't have a 100-lap main event. So it's going to be a very, very long race today, longer than we usually see. In many ways, almost like an endurance event for some of these dirt racing guys. How do you prepare for it ahead of you?
You just go out and you just try to pace yourself and not get too far ahead of yourself. You got to be taking this one step at a time. Again, heat races, consolation main events, then 100-lap main event. Such a long night that you got to just pace yourself throughout the course of the night. Not get too far ahead of yourself and don't risk getting yourself into more trouble.
And of course, before you can focus on that feature race, you have to still focus on those heat races. You got to fight your way through those first. And right now, we're scheduled for 4 heat races ahead of us here, 8 laps apiece, and it will be the top 3 advancing from each of those into the feature event. So now, of course, the question is going to be which one of these drivers is going to line up where in the start of those heat races. Fisher is still on the top of the qualified chart, so he'll be starting pole position at the moment for heat number 1, whereas Brett Rowles, who's qualified second right now, he's pole position for heat number 2. So still, it is going to be interesting to see, how this field is going to get divvied up over the course of the heats and how those battles for those transfer spots is going to shape up.
Definitely going to be a wild one here tonight, Nolan, as we're down to the final 40 seconds of qualifying here. So final few cars out and just getting some extra laps in just to get a little extra seat time here at the Charlotte Dirt Track for this opening event of this new series here on LSR TV. Hopefully the start of something great here.
Of course, that is definitely something that we hope to see, and I have a feeling we are going to be in for a very special show tonight, because every single dirt race that I've had the pleasure of commentating over the last 2 years, every single one has been non-stop action, from the drop of the green flag in the first heat right to the checkered flag in the main event. I would expect no different from the super late models here at the dirt track of Charlotte. Just 3 seconds left to qualifying, and the checkered flag has flown, and with that, we get set to stack things up for heat race number 1. Let's go over those qualifying results. So starting on pole position for heat number 1 is going to be Chris Fisher. Right beside him is going to be Grayson Wells. Row number 2 will hold Robert Fletcher and James Grace. Row 3 with Brian Warner and Hunter Saunders. And rounding out the 8-car field is going to be Mike Augustine and Ricky Howell Jr. So 8 drivers, 8 laps. Only 3, though, can advance to the feature, Greg. And it appears that there has been something that has taken place that has actually called Greg away for a brief moment. So we're going to keep things going here as the field is now set up to go racing for heat race number 1 tonight. And all 8 cars getting ready to go, and 8 engines fire on up as drivers get themselves all steady to go. Wells taking a bit of an interesting tactic, backing up a little bit before he did get pacing, but now all 8 drivers are rolling, and the pace truck is going to lead them around twice before we go green flag racing for the first of what will be about 6-7 total races here tonight for Heats 2 Consolations, 1 100-lap feature event. So the 3 drivers that have themselves secured right now are Fisher and Wells. James Grace is the driver that right now is Grace is gonna be the driver trying to fight hard. Robert Fletcher is the driver that's right on the bubble. And now as they cross the start-finish line, just 1 lap to go before we go green flag racing. The official iRacing pace truck gets set to lead them off for the first time today. And no doubt will not be the last time as we continue to go racing into the night. Makes that dive left on the pit road, but these drivers do have to wait. It's going to be a long wait at that as Chris Fisher continues to hold the field through turn 3, through turn 4. Will he get the loud pedal? When is he going to loud pedal? If the green flag drops, loud pedal is down. We're off and away at the dirt track of Charlotte for the World of Outlaws late model invitational presented by Swag. It's a good jump from Chris Fisher, who's already up and clear of the lead. Robert Fletcher, though, up to second place on the bottom side. 1 car spinning in the background. That's Ricky Howell Jr. from 8th place. That has taken a slide. He's kept it off the wall, so we are still clean and green. Brian Warner in 4th place, right trying to get up to Grayson Wells. Wells glanced off the outside wall, but for now, he is clear in the final transfer spot. Battle on for 4th place. It's almost a 3-wide battle now for the final transfer spot. Brian Warner duking it out with Hunter Saunders. Saunders hits the outside wall down the back straightaway in the number 44 machine. So Saunders puts himself up in a 4th place, and now he's trying to run down Grayson Wells in that number 59. And meanwhile, Chris Fisher up front has absolutely gapped the field. He's got nothing to worry about right now. He is clean and green, and he is absolutely gone. He's already got quite a few tenths over the course of the field. He was a couple tenths faster in just the last lap alone. So Chris Fisher doing exactly what he needs right now to make sure that he's going to start pole in the feature event tonight. So the top 2, the battle really now is up for second place. And look at that slider. Wells into the outside wall hard, gets it pulled up on a big slider. Did not work out for him. 3 wide now for the final transfer spot. Hunter Saunders throws up the inside, but on his inside is James Grace. Grace trying to fight now side by side for the 3rd position and still duking hard. Grace and Wells trying to find some speed up the middle. 3 wide once again for 3rd place. And battle 2 laps left to go.
Sorry, Nolan. Battle is on here in this one. This is the first heat race of the night, so we're going to see how this one goes, and we still got 3 more heat races coming up here.
And white flag is in the air, so it is going to be in the hands of Chris Fisher, who leads them around the final corner and will win heat race number 1 and will start pole position in the main event tonight. Robert Fletcher hangs on to second place, and Hunter Saunders is going to pick up third place from 6th. So good run there from Saunders to secure himself in the future event. Greg, why don't you take us through your qualifying order for heat race number 2?
It'll be Brett Rawls on the pole here in the number 17 with Lucas Chowning, who is outside in the 147 here on this one. Jamie Reed and Daniel Passmore will make up row number 2 for this 8-lap heat race. Coming up here, Cameron Kaysen and Derek Fulton, one of our announcers here on LSR TV, make up row number 3, as does Brett Rawls. He's another LSR TV announcer. Jeffrey McConey of McConey Speed Shops makes up row number 4 with Billy Smith, one of the members of Swag, the founding members of the Swag family.
And of course, one of the admins too, so it is good to see, an administrator racing with us today. Of course, Billy Smith did not put in the practice or qualifying time, so it looks like he's going to be sitting this one out and taking good care of things up in the race booth. And one other thing that a lot of these big events need in order to, stay afloat is, of course, sponsorship. So we do have to pay credit where credit is due to the 2 sponsors of tonight. Of course, Harrison Renovation Service, they are one of the big names of tonight for the sponsors. And of course, Smith Wraps and Graphics, also known as Swag, the same company that is presenting tonight's race. So those are the 2 sponsors for tonight. That is no doubt not going to be the first time we're going to be saying those 2 names over the course of this one. 7 cars are getting set now as they get set for the 2 pace laps before heat race number 2 gets underway.
So 8 laps the distance in this one. Looks like we had 6 cars make the grid here for this one. Believe it looks like Chowning did not make the grid in the 147. If I'm seeing this correctly. 6 cars on the grid. Nope, there he is. He was up in front of the rest of the field. So make it 7 here on the grid in this one. Here at the Charlotte dirt track. Second of 2 8-lap heat races coming up here in this one, and it's going to be Brett Rawls leading them to the green flag with Chowning to the outside, getting set. Pace truck going to duck off. We're going green. Second heat race here of the night, getting set to go green as they come through turns 3 and 4.
It's in the hands now of pole sitter Brett Rawls, second place in the qualifying session. Pole position for heat race number 2. The green flag drop, still holding the field. Now he gets on the lap pedal. We're up and away. 1 car already sideways in and hard to the outside wall. And that was Daniel Passmore, whose Pete has suddenly come to a smashing end.
A lot of damage for Passmore. Fortunately for him, he will have one of the B mains to give it a shot here, but as they try to settle it down here in the opening stages, look at Reed up on the high side there, riding the cushion, as now looks like Chowning's going to try the same thing as Rawls tries the bottom here through 1 and 2. 1 down, 7 to go, and now Chowning staying up there on the cushion as Reed trying to search to find a way around him.
The yellow flag is out on the speedway. We had 1 car sideways, and that was Jeffrey McConey, I think it was, that brought this one out. So McConey seems like he might have had some difficulties in this one, so very unfortunate for him. Not, of course, what you wanted to see at all. So yellow flag out on the speedway is well, first yellow of the night. I did not imagine it would come in one of these heat races.
First Swag yellow flag of the night. Taking a look at the Swag replay. McConey just losing it there in the corner and able to keep it going, but the caution had already come out as it triggered the yellow when he came to the stop there. So unfortunately for him, it brings out the caution. The good news is it's going to stay bunched together, and with it only being 6 cars in this heat race, he's not going to lose a whole lot of ground, and they'll be bunched right back up here in this one once the green flag is displayed again. But Brett Rawls leading the way in car number 17 with Chowning, Reed, Kaysen, Fulton, and McConey making up your 6 cars that are running right now. Passmore, it looks like, has retired from this race in the early going here and is going to just get ready for the B main.
Should note as well that caution laps do not count under these yellow flags, under the initial yellow flags, at least for these heat races. So we are technically still running lap number 2 of 8, as we did not complete that second green flag lap. Meanwhile, with the 1 lap signal having been given, the pace truck pulls them down the pit road once again in the hands of Brett Rawls. What can Lucas Chowning make on the restart?
Being set to come to the green Here we're going to restart here at the Charlotte Dirt Track. Rawls leading the way, Chowning on the high side, Reed right there on the very bottom as Chowning tries the cushion again, gets the nice momentum there off turn 2, gets a nice run into turn number 3. He likes the cushion up there in that number 147, trying to get a run, but Rawls shuts the door again.
Shuts the door again. You got to remember Jamie Reed still behind him as well, but battle is very much on for the race lead as Lucas Chowning trying the outside line. Got the momentum on him off at the corner, and he might get the lead here. Behind them, Cameron Carson gets sent around. Cameron Carson sent around by Jamie Reed. That was the battle for the transfer spot. It was a nasty slider pull, but the move is made. So Kaysen up in the final transfer spot. New leader as well for the heat as Lucas Chowning is through to the front.
Chowning through to the lead. There's your battle going on. This, I believe, is for third. As Reed and Fulton battle it out. Nice slider there by Fulton, but Reed comes fighting back there on the inside. Or excuse me, that's Kaysen, not Fulton. So Kaysen and Reed battling it out. Throwing sliders on each other here, side by side for the third spot. Kaysen on the inside, Reed on the outside. Switch as Kaysen throws the slider. Reed able to cross back over to the inside.
They're switching it up every corner now. Another slider trying to be thrown here by Jamie Reed. Can't get the crossover this time. He's going to have to make something here on the last lap of the heat race. Kaysen running a bit wide up to the top side. Here comes Reed trying to charge him down. If he's going to make a move, it has to be now. Both drivers sticking it to the bottom side. Jamie Reed cannot get there, though, so it's going to be Lucas Chowning with the heat race win. Brett Rowles in second, and Cameron Kaysen holds off Jamie Reed for third.
Fulton and McConey round out the cars that were running in this one, and we're moving right along. Heat race number 3 here coming up here, Nolan.
So the heats just keep on coming, and this time it is Tanner Tomasi started things off on pole position, and Dustin Sizemore right beside him in that first row. You got Gregory Rory and Will Duvall in 4th place. Then you got Brandon Gagnon and Layden Edwards in 5th and 6th place. Cody Palmore rounds out the 7-car field for this one, Greg.
So 7 cars coming up here for this heat race. Heat race number 3 of 4 here. Then we move into our 2B mains before a 100-lap main event.
So far, we got 6 drivers locked in. We're about to make it 9 as all 7 cars managed to fire it off of their grid spots. And, well, time to pace around for another 2 laps before we go racing for another 8. The official iRacing pace truck still leading the group around now. 7 are strong and running 2 wide for now. Very slow pace. Of course, that speed, no doubt about, to get right back up to speeds that we are used to seeing in these types of cars. 1 pace lap left to go before we go green flag racing for heat race number 3. We saw our first yellow of the race in, of course, heat race number 2 on just the 2nd lap. Will we be seeing another one in the heat races coming forward?
Definitely remains to be seen. Just 8 laps the distance in these heat races, but so much on the line here in this one.
So much on the line indeed. The pace truck is down, and already the front row giving each other a little bit of love, scraping doors just a little bbit on the entry to turn number 3. So Dustin Sizemore definitely trying to intimidate Tomasi on the inside line, or maybe the other way around. And look at this, Tomasi caught napping. Sizemore though ends up faulting on the restart, and just like that, all of a sudden it's 3 wide for the final transfer spot. Sizemore's falling back to 3rd place. Here comes Gregory Rory trying the inside for the race lead.
Great battle spread all throughout right now. Rory on the inside, Tomasi leading the lap as they run on the cushion. Top 3 right on the cushion, but a battle there on the bottom for 3rd as Duvall gets a run on the inside. Almost comes up into Sizemore, but keeps it pointed straight.
Will Duvall trying to keep it straight, trying to go for the final transfer spot. Can Duvall get the move done? That's going to be the big ticket question here. He's not having a lot of momentum around the inside. Look at how much more speed Dustin Sizemore got off of turn number 2 that last time by. The grip is really shifting over to the high side of the racetrack. You know, it is common knowledge that unless you get really diving off the corner, you're not going to find too much momentum around the bottom side, especially at a track like this one.
No, for sure. You're really going to try to run the top as much as you can. That's why you see everybody making their way up to the top as we're going to be halfway this time. 4 down, 4 to go for Tanner Tomasi. Had a nice run earlier tonight as well on LSR TV, looking for a win here in his heat race.
And right now, it is looking like the top three have gapped the rest of the field by a significant margin, not helped by Will Duval getting into the wall just a couple laps ago over in turn number 3. And right now, the biggest battle on track is actually for 5th place on the track between Blade and Edwards and Brandon Gejnan. They made a little bit of contact down to the front straightaway, but already that battle started to split on up as well. As a result of that contact, both cars getting unsettled. So right now, we are 6 down, 2 to go. Lap number 7 being rounded right now as already now Tanner Tomasi can actually see Cody Palmore in his sights, and if there were about 2 more laps in this one, he might have even have lapped him as we take the white flag.
White flag, 1 lap to go here on LSR TV. Heat race number 3. Tomasi has led all 8 of them so far. Rory right behind him, then Sizemore, Duval, Gagnon, your top 5. They're all running on top on the cushion, and there you see Palmore in front of him. So yeah, just a couple more laps, he may have got him. Ooh, he almost got him there coming off turn 4.
So it's Tomasi first, Gregory Rory second, and Dustin Sizemore rounding out the 3 transfer positions. The other 4 are going to have to wait and duke this one out in one of the B mains later on tonight. Cody Palmore crosses the line, and we get set to go race for what we expect to be our final heat race of the night.
Final heat race on deck here at the Charlotte Dirt Track. Before we move into our B mains, it will be Cody Slauson leading them to the green with Peyton Howell, driver of the CRN Esports or CRN podcast entry in the number 20. He's a swag Outlaw Super Late Models regular. Trent Beaver and Jack Smith going to make up row number 2 here as they're already rolling away. 6 cars on the grid for this one. You got Matt Lee and Brad Dyer making up row number 3. One of them did not make it in. Darren Litterall is going to round out the field in this one. I believe it was the driver who was pegged to be 6th that did not make it.
So most unfortunate there for whichever driver did not make it in. Actually, it looks like it was Jack Smith that did not make it in, who was supposed to be your 4th place starter. So Jack Smith not making the call. If he wants to get a run at that feature race, he's going to have to put it in one heck of a performance in one of those 12-lap consolation races coming up here shortly as well. 1 lap to go before we go green flag racing for the final heat race of the night.
Final heat race here of the night. 6 cars. It's Slauson and Howell, your front row. Of course, Howell running that Jimmy Owens paint scheme on his dirt late model. Then you got Beaver and Dyer making up row number 2 as Smith did not make it into the session. That leaves the 3rd row for Matt Lee and Litterall here in this one to take it. 8 laps, 6 cars. Final heat race of the night before we move into B mains. We're green.
And you saw one of those drivers already answer. That was Trent Beaver that was trying to make it a 3-wide start. And now Beaver's pulled a slider for the 2nd position, and he's going to make that one work. So Beaver up to 2nd already for 3rd place on the grid, trying to throw it in. Underneath Cody Slauson, can't get into the 3 right behind. Big contact being made down the order, though. That was Matthew Lee that made some major contact down the midst of things as well. So 6 cars already do badly. Hard in the middle of this one. Lee's hard to the outside wall, and that's going to, no doubt, that might be another yellow flag. Brad Dyer gets set around as well, and that is going to be a yellow flag. 2nd
swag yellow flag of the night. Matt Lee and Dyer involved in this one. Take a look at the flag replay. And this started back here. Peyton Howell getting up there in the mix. They were slicing and dicing, and this is where it starts, right there. The contact between Howell and Lee gets it started. Things settle down here through the corner, but then coming up here off of turn number 2, right there, they get together.
And just kind of ground to a stop against that outside wall. And should note that Jack Smith is actually on the racetrack now. Now here's the clincher for this one. He is technically not right now being scored as a lap down. He is being scored, but officially he's being scored on lap number 1. The rest of the field on lap 2. So fact is that Jack Smith may very well be a lap down. And if he is, this is going to be very difficult all of a sudden for him to be able to punch his way into the feature race from this heat race.
Definitely trying to get that done as Jack Smith currently being scored in 4th right now in front of Lee, Dyer, and Litterall. Trying to track down Beaver, Howell, and Cody Slauson, who's leading the way.
He did start up front in 4th place right now, running 7th, so it's certainly not a pleasant sight for Jack Smith, who's at the back of the order. Meanwhile, though, The pace truck is going to be pulling back down into pit road. Now we'll have to see what will Jack Smith do on this restart and how will this scoring shape up. Is he going to be scored a lap down or not? It's in the hands now of Cody Slauson on the loud pedal middle turn 4, already off and away.
Slauson with a big jump there going off into turn number 1 on the outside, trying to get it going. Peyton Howell in the number 20 and third, as Trent Bieber was able to get around him on that restart. 3 wide for the third spot, but it's still Slauson leading the way. They are battling it out for third there between, I believe, Smith, Lee, and Dyer trying to get back up there.
Yeah, Jack Smith still running in the back. That is Dyer, Literal, and Howell. Right away, hard. Howell gets punted by Literal, and is that going to send him around? No, it's not, but that's going to put Dyer Literal out of contention. Still bouncing back and forth off each other, though, as now Jack Smith is throwing something in the mix, and he's going to put himself into the outside wall, and now that's pretty darn reckless there from a lapped car, if I do say so myself. Smith is a lap down, and that sends one car skating to the infield, so that was just absolutely, completely unnecessary.
Trying to get it going here, but that's just 8 laps on the docket there. But like you said, he's a lap down, and these guys are battling to try to get those locked in. At this point, Jack's just getting track time for the C main, which is coming up, and Darren Litteral has disconnected from the session, so he has loaded it up on the trailer and gone home. But Cody Slauson, caution.
And that was in the battle for the transfer spot. It's going to be a green-white checkered in this one. And that was in a major battle for the transfer spot. Brad Dyer just throwing a massive slider on Peyton Howell, slid right up in front of him. Howell was left with nowhere to go, and that set both cars around. We are now on the swag replay. Watch this massive slider down in the turn 1. It's going to be coming up this time by at the line as down the inside he goes, slides right back up. Howell left, nothing he could have done.
Throwing sliders at each other, and that was for the transfer as they all get connected there. Nice job by Matt Lee to get through that too, as everyone else and Matt Lee did a nice job getting through that.
So we're still waiting officially on the iRacing side for the running order to be updated, which will happen when we get back to the line to go green, but it's looking for the top 3 to be set up in the way of Cody Slauson going to be in the first position. Trent Beaver still holding second. They were duking it out as well. Matthew Lee from 5th place as of right now being officially scored. Looks like he'll be able to take up the final transfer spot when we go back green, as Powell and Dyer are the 2 that clean them out, and then Jack Smith, well, he's still trapped a lap down.
This race will be advanced to a green-white checkered finish. 7 laps in the books. Remember, caution laps do not count, but because we were on lap 7, it is a green-white checkered here for this one. Darren Litteral has reconnected to the session, so he is going to be able to try and get this car into the main event through the C and B main. We'll wait to see who is lined up in which 12-lap heat or 12-lap B main and C main. But right now, we still got to figure out who to transfer into our A main event, which is coming up for 100 laps here, is as we've got Cody Slauson, Trent Beaver, and Peyton Howell in those spots right now. And Nolan, while that was going on, the battle with the transfer spot, Slauson and Beaver were beginning to heat up as well.
So there is might be a bit of confusion in the running order right now, as race control has delayed the restart by a couple laps now. The first one was, I believe, to give Jack Smith a lucky dog wave around, as he was waved around the pace car to catch the tail end of the field. So that's going to put Jack Smith now on the lead lap. So now all cars are set to go. The question is now going to be, where is Darren Litteral? He has reconnected the session like you mentioned. But now we're going to question. The question is going to be: do we go green flag racing this time by? The lights are out on the pace truck for now, but it was around this time last time when they came back on again as the restart was waved off. So now we're going to see what is going to happen here. If the pace truck pulls off, this race will effectively get back underway. The pace truck is going to pull off, so the running order has been corrected, and now all 6 drivers on the lead lap, and no doubt all 6 drivers ready to fight. Cody Slauson gets on the loud pedal. We're off and away. 2 laps to go in heat race number 4.
Beaver looking low in the number 14, but Slauson able to pull away up there on the cushion. They fan out once again. Battle for the transfer spot is leads to the outside of Howell right now for the final transfer spot.
And that was a bit of a weird one, because it looks like the session has been moved up ahead, and Well, I have no idea what in the world is happening on this one. It does look like that race actually did just come to an end without a result. The heat race.
I think time ran out.
Oh, the time. That's true. They do have a 6-minute time limit on those races, so the time might have ran out. So we actually have no idea then who actually won that heat race. I think Cody Slauson did, but I have no results here on my page. So
it should be Slauson and Beaver. But thing is, the transfer spot was battling. They were side by side for the transfer spot during that. But no time to sit here and wonder because the first of our 2B mains is already on the grid.
Indeed it is, and it's James Gray starting on the pole, Will Duvall in the second position, Grayson Wells and Bladen Edwards starting third and fourth as Brian Warner and Brandon Gagnon starting in row number 3. Row 4 holds Mike Augustine and Cody Palmore. All on his lonesome in the final row, Ricky Howell Jr., one of those drivers that unfortunately for him had a most unfortunate heat race number 1. He was caught out in an early wreck on just the second lap of his heat race. He will no doubt be looking for redemption in the first of 2B mains.
If he makes it, Nolan, he's not on the grid yet, and the cars are already rolling, so no sign of Ricky Howell Jr. right now. Field going to be in the hands of James Grace here. B main. We have 8 on the grid. We were scheduled to start 9. Looks like we're taking 6 to the feature in this one.
So 8 drivers getting set to rumble. 1 more lap to go behind the official iRacing pace truck before it pulls on off. And we get set to go race it. It's going to be 12 laps this time with the top 6 from both cars advancing. And there's been a crash under the pace car. Bladen Edwards has just had some major contact with Brandon Gagnon under the pace car. That's an unusual one, Greg.
And that's going to really affect these guys, Nolan, because that's damage to the car before they even take the green. Fortunately, dirt cars, they can take a beating as opposed to what we've seen a lot of on LSR TV recently with the Cup cars. We've seen a lot of Cup car racing, including with both those drivers, Bladen Edwards and Brandon Gagnon. But the green flag is in the air, so let's see how it goes. 12 laps here for this first of 2B mains.
A very messy start at that for the 2 drivers that made contact under the pace car. They were bumping and banging all over the place. Bladen Edwards has got a problem with this car. He cannot get it controlled. He's at the tires and he's spun round in the back. So disaster for Bladen Edwards, who's no doubt just thrown his consolation race to the wind. Meanwhile, side by side, 3 wide for the second place for brief moment off in turn 2. They're going to double it out.
Will Duvall there in the middle trying to come up in the white and pink B32. Gets the second spot away from Brian Warner, who's on the outside there. Grayson Wells made a nice move at the start of the race. Unfortunately,
big crash. I'm sorry to cut you off, Greg. Cody Palmer up and over on the front straightaway, and now sitting in the middle of the racetrack. He made contact with Bladen Edwards. Both cars hit the outside wall, and the number 6 was tipped up and over.
Oh, God, we stay green right now as Duvall to the inside of Grace for the race lead. He's the producer on LSR TV. Team LSR TV represented there. He's getting the lead away from James Grace, but he's bringing Grayson Wells with him in that number 59. He's right on the back bumper of him, trying to follow him around James Grace.
So Grayson Wells is going to pick up that second position. Will Duvall now in the race lead. What can Grayson Wells get for him, though? As right now, Duvall doing a very good job at trying to keep that bottom line covered. He's doing so perfectly right now. Got to be very, very careful of those tire bundles, or those little tractor tires on the inside of the racetrack. Those could be devastating to a race if you hit them in just the wrong way.
I believe that's what happened to Bladen Edwards a moment ago as we're halfway through this one. 6 down, 6 to go. Will Duvall leading here at the Charlotte Dirt Track. Our first of 2 B mains. We're taking 6 to the main event right now. The 6th spot is held by Brandon Gagnon, and he has a long way back to Bladen Edwards. So Gagnon right now is trying to log some laps as he's got a 9-second advantage for that final transfer spot.
This really is a bit of an unusual, isn't it? I mean, we've seen the top line has been the place to be the entirety of the event so far. But look at this. Everybody's running the bottom side of the racetrack all of a sudden. So all of a sudden, the bottom side is the place to be. Now, Wells trying maybe a bit of a more of a middle groove, but that's going to actually lose momentum up front to Will Duvall.
Duvall trying to lead the way, and I think Duvall was the one who initially started that move down to the bottom, so Duvall may have found something here as we're clicking the laps away. About 3 laps to go now in this one. Duvall still leading the way, like we said, hugging the bottom there. Grayson Wells on the inside right behind him in what would be his tire tracks as James Grace hanging there in 3rd. Lap traffic coming up as well. Caution is out.
And that was for a crash just up ahead of the leaders. And guess what? It was Cody Palmore who hit one of those tractor tires and nearly flipped over as a result of this one as well. Stopped on the inside of the racetrack. So going to take a replay of this now, presented by Swag, and we're going to watch this now. That number 6 car has been struggling with this machine the entire of the event. I mean, he already has had a couple incidents himself and slides down the track, and that car was just unsteady from the beginning and just clipped the tires, and that is what brought the yellow out.
He was one of those drivers who was caught up in the incident before the green flag, was he not? Or was that someone else? I can't remember if he was caught up in that or not.
He wasn't caught up directly in it, but he was certainly caught up in the calamity that followed just off of the race start. So I think he did have some damage on that machine, and he was just trying to get it through to the end. He is still on the traction note as well, so clearly the damage not bad enough that he doesn't have to, worry necessarily about, keeping things too steady. So Bladen Edwards right now, it just has not been his race.
Gonna have to just try to shake it off, and now that he's in position for a restart here to try to get around Brandon Gagnon, Bladen Edwards is gonna have to be on his game here. He's got a shot to try to get it back, but the problem is that car has a lot of damage on it, that number 27. So see how it goes from here. Cody Palmore in the 6 looks like has just parked it in the infield. Duvall, Wells, Grace, Warner, Augustine, and Gagnon are your cars in the transfer spot right now. Bladen Edwards wants in, but that is not going to be an easy task with all that damage on that car.
2 laps left to decide. Consolation race number 1, 8 minutes is the time limit. We're crossing that 7-minute threshold now, so this might be tight if we get another yellow. Green flag is off in the air. Will Duvall is gone from the field. He is absolutely checked out. Grayson Wells getting spun around. Maybe Grace trying to get the spot. He is going to pick up second place just around him, and now all of a sudden Grayson Wells fighting for third.
Oh, and a little bit of a payback shot there from Wells on Grace as the white flag comes out for Will Duvall. Have an official race here. Looks like we're going to be coming to the checkered here. Grayson Wells voicing his displeasure with James Grace right now. But as they come through turn 3 and 4, Will Duvall going to punch his ticket to the 8 main with a win. Wells, Grace, Augustine, Gagnon, and Warner, I believe, will be the cars that transfer in.
So that is 6 more spots secured for the A main. Still got 6 more to go. It looks like it is going to be another 9-car grid. Make that 8 as Billy Smith is in this one. He, of course, is the event administrator, so we are expecting him to not take the grid in this one. So 8 cars. Why don't you run us through your starting order, Greg?
Making up our row will be Jamie Reed in the number 47 with Peyton Howell to his outside. And remember, Peyton Howell was in the mix for that transfer spot. It came down to a time limit crunch, and unfortunately in the photo finish, looks like Howell was the odd man out in that one. He will start second. Derek Fulton and Brad Dyer make up row number 2. Derek Fulton, another one of those Team LSR TV drivers that we like to throw out when we got guys who you see on broadcasts here in the broadcast booth behind the wheel. He starts third with Brad Dyer outside. Jeffrey McConey of McConey's Setup Shop going to make up row number 3 with Jack Smith in the number 66. Remember, he had the wild heat race as he did not make the grid in time. It was a lap down and got a little bit aggressive in that number 66 car. Daniel Passmore and Darren Litterall make up this 8-car field.
And just like that, the pace truck getting set to rumble away once again for the final race, which will set the grid before we go racing for 100 laps. I mean, look at what we've had so far. I mean, we've had ourselves 4 heat races and 2 consolation races, and you think it's just about over that feature race, but think again, that feature race, 100 laps long, so it's going to be, we still got a long race ahead of us for this one. Right now, though, I'm pretty sure the drivers are not focused so much on the 100, but on the 12 that they've got just above them. Of course, Daniel Passmore and Darren Litterall, those are the 2 drivers that might be the most aggressive in this heat race, as they are right now the only 2 drivers not holding transfer spots.
Was just getting ready to say the exact same thing there, Nolan. Watch those 2 drivers in the back, Passmore and Litterall. They have 12 laps to get around at least one of these drivers in front of them to try to get up there, or in the case of Darren Litterall, you get past 2, of course, but those are the 2 drivers to watch. But the field is now in the hands of Jamie Reed in car number 47. He's going to lead him to green here for our final consolation main of the night. the final 6 spots in the main event on the line.
So Jamie Reed, it's in his hands now. And he's going to wait a little bit longer. Now he gets on the loud pedal, and look at that! The 20 car of Peyton Howell reading him perfectly and launching at exact the same time already, though. 2, 3 cars around in the background, and 1 down to the inside as well. This is the 7 car Derek Fulton that got sent to the infield grass. Also involved was Danielle Passmore and Darren Little, but Little is now up into one of those transfer positions. The battle is on now for the heat race lead, though, as they're 2 wide, 1 car grinding against the wall. That's Peyton Howell into the outside wall now, but he's going to hang on to the race lead for now, not for long maybe, though, as Jamie Reed is looking like he wants to fight.
Jamie Reed wants that lead into number 47. Remember, he was up there battling for a transfer spot the entire time in his heat race. Howell leads the lap, but look who is coming up through the field. How about Jack Smith in the number 66? He's got some redemption on his mind after missing the grid in the heat race. Here he is leading at Charlotte. Here lap 4, 1/3 of the way through the race this time by.
And Smith already well clear and gone on the field. He is running to that top line perfectly right now. And Brad Dyer is also cleared. So all of a sudden, the battle is on for 3rd place behind him as Peyton Howell is just dropping back like a rock. Jamie Reed still trying to fend off. Jamie Reed's going to pick up the 3rd position as well from Peyton Howell. He's continuing to fall back. Howell's back into the outside wall. That is disastrous. He's got a lot of damage now on the right rear of that race car. So definitely Peyton Howell's super late model. Not looking like it's in the half to campery moods right now, but already he's still trying to fight back for 3rd place. He's back up the inside now of Jamie Reed.
The good news is the transfer spot is Jeffrey McConey in the 00. Actually, he's the first man out. Sorry, Passmore holds the transfer spot. McConey is a good 3 seconds back of that, so Howell has a bit of cushion to work with that crumpled number 20 car. And the good news is if he does transfer into the main event, he will get a new car for this 100-lap feature. But Jack Smith driving away right now up front.
And now this field really has single filed out. Nobody's really duking it out with each other. We don't have any side-by-side battles anymore on the racetrack just yet. So looks like this race we're setting up for a much more of a calmer end than the last of our heat races have been. I say that, and Jamie Reed's just pounded the outside wall in turn number 3, and that's closing the gap big time to Peyton Howell. But already Howell's lost the time in a bit of an awkward slide down the front stretch.
Brad Dyer just trying to pull away right now in the 2nd spot, 1.8 back of Jack Smith, but a 1.5 seconds ahead of Jamie Reed right now. Has McConey and Fulton, the 2 men on the outside looking in right now, trying to get back up there to try to reel them in as we're in the closing stages of this one. Jack Smith, 2 laps to go at the line, and he's starting to close in on Derek Fulton right now.
And Fulton really not helping himself as Fulton took a bit of an awkward slider through turns 1 and 2 that last time by. So, in fact, Jeffrey McConey as well in that 00 machine. Right now, though, it is very, very steadily in the hands of Jack Smith. The C is now taken the white flag on the speedway. So final lap of the final consolation race of the night. And Jack Smith, nothing to worry about through turn 3, through turn 4. The number 66 car wins the B main number 2. 2nd place is going to belong to Brad Dyer. 3rd place is going to go to Jamie Reed. 4th is going to be Peyton Howell. Darren Littoral in 5th. The final driver to make it through for the event is going to be Daniel Passmore. So only 4 drivers not going to be making the feature start tonight. Those drivers, of course, from the first B-main are going to be, well, if I say that, it's going to be 5, actually. You got, well, it's going to start things off first. I'll tell you what, this has been a really, really fun race. I mean, non-stop through right to the end, but Jeffrey McConey, Billy Smith, looks like they're headed home tonight.
Looks like Derek Fulton as well. So that's it. We've got our drivers that are going to be in this main event. So now, Nolan, we are on to our warm-up period here for our 100-lap race. And we're going to take a quick break to rest our voices because we've got a long one coming. 100 laps here. Coming up, the inaugural World of Outlaws here, presented by Swag. You're watching it all here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
There's a lot of esports leagues in iRacing, but there's nothing like Swag. Special events, series sanctioning. The Simulation World Auto Group, Swag, is excited for you to become a member and join our team. Weekly competition includes Stadium Super Trucks, the Outlaw Super Late Model Series, the Short Track Cup All-Star Challenge, the winter heat during the winter months, and so much more. Special events and venues is also throughout the year. We want you to be a part of the team. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by looking up Swag Esports Racing and jump on board with the Shark. Big money, fun times. We want you to be a part of what is the new Simulation World Auto Group. All the details again on Swag Racing Esports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you at the virtual tracks across the world. And if not, follow broadcast coverage on LSR TV, the weekly racer in CRN Sports.
Welcome back to the World of Outlaws late model invitational presented by Swag. We're just getting set to go racing for the 100 lap feature race tonight. Before we go to your starting grid, let's just give one more quick shout out to Harrison Renovation Service and Smith Wraps and Graphics, the two big sponsors of tonight's invitational event. 100 laps getting ready to go. Let's go through your starting grid for this one. So it's going to be Chris Fisher, winner of heat race number 1, lining it up on pole position. Lucas Chowney, winner of heat race number 2, starting in second place. Tano Tomasi and Cody Sloss, the respective winners of heat races 3 and 4, started third and fourth. You got Robert Fletcher, Brett Rowles in 5th and 6th place. Gregory Rory and Trent Beaver 7th and 8th, rounded out the top 10. It's Hunter Saunders and Cameron Kaysen. Dustin Sizemore down to the 11th place. Matthew Lee in 12th.
You got Will Duvall, B main winner, coming up in row number 7. Will Duvall, the B main winners. Jack Smith, the other B main winner. Then you got Grayson Wells and Brad Dyer making up row number 8, 15th, and 16th. James Grace and Jamie Reed coming up in row number 19, rounding out the top 20. Mike Augustine and Peyton Howell, and Brandon Gagnon and Darren Litterall making up row number 11. Rounding out the field will be Brian Warner and Daniel Passmore.
24 cars getting set to rumble. Your final thoughts here before we go green.
100 laps the distance here at the Charlotte dirt track, and I'm getting a consolation one here tonight, Nolan. I don't know if you know, but Thursday night I was scheduled to have the first ever dirt race I ever broadcast. Unfortunately, had some family stuff pop up, wasn't able to do it. And then when this opportunity arose, I was like, sure, I'll do it. So this is my first ever dirt broadcast. I've never done this before. Talk about trial by fire coming in on very short notice.
Trial by fire is a bit of an understatement, but meanwhile, I will say, first off, you've been doing a fantastic job, and it's been a pleasure to have you with me so far. But for now, the mighty late models are getting set to go. Green flag racing for 100 laps. And it is going to be in the hands of one Chris Fisher to lead them off to the green. And with one step of allow pedal, 100 laps will get underway. We are ready to rumble here at the dirt track of Charlotte, and Chris Fisher waiting. The green flag drops. We're underway, 100 laps of the dirt track of Charlotte.
Ooh, one car already in the wall as they fan out. Big hit to the wall there. I believe that was Lucas Chowning. Yes, it was. Falling all the way through as he was stuck against the wall there. He's going to fall well outside the top 10 in this one. Chris Fisher leads the first lap here at Charlotte. 1 down, 99 to go, but Tanner Tomasi taking a peek to the inside now.
And already cars getting sent around to the back, and the yellow flag is out for the first time tonight. And this one was for Peyton Howell getting spun round on the inside line.
Peyton Howell's had an adventurous night. Swag replay on screen as we're under our first swag yellow flag of the night. And there you see Lucas Chowning. He was still getting shuffled deeper and deeper into the field. Now back there with where the B main drivers are. As Howell on the inside there in the Jimmy Owens tribute. You see right there Grayson Wells sliding, and ooh, just a bottleneck there as Howell going around. He gets the worst of it. So we're under caution for the first time here tonight. We are working lap number 2 of 100. Remember, caution laps do not count here in this one. Chris Fisher, Tanner Tomasi, Robert Fletcher, Greg Rory, and Trent Beaver, your top 5 right now. Remember the pressure that Beaver was putting on for that for his heat race there. He was putting the pressure on at the end, battling with Cody Slauson, and unfortunately ran out of time, as that was the heat race that went to the time limit there. Time limit in this one is 1 hour and 30 minutes. We should not have a problem provided the race goes relatively clean. Unfortunately, with the way things have gotten going already, we're off to kind of a rocky start as far as that goes, with our first swag yellow flag with just 2 laps complete.
Just 2 laps complete. The pace truck going to lead them back down to the pit road. And once again, it looks like it is going to be Chris Fisher to lead them back to the green.
Hitting up right by the cushion and watch them to shoot down to the bottom. There it is. Green flag back in the air, and a nice restart by Fisher to get a big lead over Tomasi and throw him to the wolves. Look at Beaver on the cushion. Going to rail around and try to get around Rory. They're side by side. That's for 4th place right now as they battle.
Indeed, 4th place still under fire now as the positions continue to swap. Single file restarts, of course, in this one. And now we start to round lap number 4. It's going to be a very good run for a lot of these drivers now over the course of this field. Still side by side and almost banging doors down to that turn number 3.
Battle for the lead. Fisher trying to clear. Does. That outside lane right on the cushion, just so strong on corner exit here. We see it a lot on the asphalt side, but in dirt, that cushion, you just shoot off like a rocket down the straightaways as they continue to battle it out. Beaver now taking the high sign right up on the cushion again. He's gotten the 3rd as he gets around Fletcher. Now he's going to shoot to the bottom to try to take a shot at Tanner Tomasi right now for a 2nd. They are fanned out all over the place right now. By the way, Will Duvall, B main winner, Tanner has already climbed into 12th. After starting, well, I guess he's only gained one spot there as Grayson Wells gets underneath him. Forgot we only took 12 from the heat races. Thought we took 16. I'm still in my mind from last night's race that I announced real life race, where we had 18 cars locked in before we had the B main winner start 19, so still locked into that mode. But Fisher still leading the way, but not for long, because Tanner Tomasi is ringing the bell. Oh, he has to back out of it. Tried the slide job and lost momentum.
He tried to slide it up, but didn't quite manage to get up there. 3 wide behind them, though, as they're trying to do battle. Look at the 14 car trying to reach the middle. That's going to come right in front of the field, and there is some definite contact being made there. So a lot of physical punches being thrown as Bory goes up into the 3rd position. My goodness me, this is some good racing.
Fantastic racing on the Charlotte Dirt Track, and we're only 10 laps in now, and it's going to be 10 complete next time by, and the leaders are already in some lap traffic. The first 2 cars that are going to go a lap down here are Brandon Gagnon and Peyton Howell, a couple normal drivers we see on Wednesday nights in the Swag Outlaw Super Late Model Series. Remember, you can catch their next race, I believe, coming in Richmond on Wednesday, but they're trying their hand at the dirt right now, but they're going to be going a lap down here to Chris Fisher here in just a moment, because Fisher's got that thing railing on the cushion.
About a 10th of the way through this race now as we continue to take the laps away, and time continues to tick away as well. So about 89 laps now left to run. And the battle still very much strong all the way throughout the field. Still position swapping back and forth all throughout the field.
Leader Chris Fisher trying to pull away, but there are battles going on. Ooh, Tomasi's kind of pinned between them right now, stuck with nowhere to go, and Howell and Gagnon are going to move up top to let him get through. But boy, Tomasi kind of got pinned there, but it is a hornet's nest for 3rd right now. Rory, Beaver, Brett Rawls, a bunch of different drivers involved in this one right now in this 5-car battle for 3rd. Look at the move by Rory, with getting the momentum there on the cushion as Rawls tried the slider, and Rory was able to cross him back under.
And look at this, gonna try for 3 wide once again off of turn number 4. Not quite getting there, but a lot of drivers are really starting to fight so hard now all throughout the order. And I mean, look at this 5-car train that we're seeing right here on lap number 15 out of 100. Trying for 3 wide again. Up the inside he goes. The 17 car trying to do whatever he can as Wells trying to punch a way through, but cannot close into Sanders.
I'm watching Hunter Sanders in the 44 as he was trying to go up through the middle there. He was getting some gutsy moves there. Kind of impressed with how he was able to make it stick through the middle there, trying to reel in Rory right now. As now Rawls is going to fall back in the mix of Fletcher, who, remember, started up in the top 5, was up as high as 3rd earlier in this race, fell back to 5th, now gets back around Rawls, who had gotten the spot for a moment. Beaver trying to get back up there. Ooh, 1 car on the wall. That's Rory up in front of him.
So a couple of drivers still struggling, still getting up into the wall, and of course a very, very dangerous game that you play when you're trying to flirt with that wall. It's one of the hazards of trying to, run really up to the top side or really close to that wall as well, because the slightest inch wrong, and you're going to find yourself in the wall. And once you get into the wall, as many drivers can attest to, it is almost impossible to get back off of it.
Yeah, very difficult. And now they're coming up on that lap traffic of Howell and Gagnon. Hunter Sanders on the inside there might get pinned there, much like what we saw earlier with Tomasi, as they try to make their way on the outside through this lap traffic. Oh, Sanders slid right in front of another car, gets hit. We stayed green, but another car slid into him. That was Brett Rawls, who made contact with him there.
A very, very close call indeed, and it sent some drivers scrambling. We went 3, almost 4 wide in that one trying to get around him, but thankfully we managed to keep things clean and green for now. 3 wide still. Who was that? That was ripping the top side just behind that number 8 car. That was really impressive. Oh, center of the middle. 1 car to the wall. Almost into the fence. Another slide behind them.
Brad Dyer spun around as well. He gets it going. We stay green somehow. How did we not get a caution in that whole thing? And how did everybody avoid the spinning car there of Brad Dyer, that blue 56 car you see right there? Oh, more trouble. Will Duvall running into another car that may have been Slauson as the caution comes out.
Yellow flag out on the speedway.
Second swag yellow flag of the day. It was Duvall who ran into him. I believe it was Cody Slauson that had come to a stop up there. You see Dyer going down there into the infield. This is about the lap before. It was coming off of turn number 2, so right about here you're going to see Duvall on the outside there, and right there, I believe that's Sloss in the 08. That was just nowhere to go for Duvall.
Yeah, that is a tough break there for Will Duvall, who, of course, one thing he did not want to have happen to him today. So that is most unfortunate. You hate to see it, especially so early in the race. Of course, we're not even a quarter of the way through yet. So we go back to live pictures now under yellow flags. For I think this is going to be the second time now in the same main. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one.
Yes, second swag yellow flag of the night. And we're hoping that this first World of Outlaws Late Model Invitational, brought to you by Swag, the Simulated World Auto Group, is hopefully the first of many.
Pace truck pulls it off once again as we get set to rumble once more. And so far, Chris Fisher's been doing a good job holding the field at bay so far. He's going to lead them back to the green already. Tomasi trying to find his way up the inside, trying to pounce on that lead early. So far, though, nothing doing. Chris Fisher has got that lead held.
Fisher with a nice job. Trent Beaver coming back in the 14, trying to get around Rory for third. Beaver had found back as slow as 8th in that Hornet's Nest earlier, and they're still fanned out as they slide through. Look at the cars on the cushion. Top 4 on the cushion there. Before you've got the 77 of Fletcher, I believe, trying to make moves on the inside. Is that the 77 of Fletcher on the inside there? No, excuse me. That is Brett Rawls trying to make moves on the inside.
And right now, a lot of drivers still trying to fan out over the racetrack, still going 3, almost 4 wide, especially, further up front here right now. Among those drivers, you still got guys like Hunter Sanders that are throwing their way up the middle and trying to push and make moves wherever they can. A couple of drivers still trying to run the cushion. Robert Fletcher among them in the 77 machine, but Fletcher still dropping back spots. Caution flag is out once again, and trying to figure out where this one was at. It was Matthew Lee this time that spun around. It wasn't the result of contact. Oh, yes, it was. Contact with the number 8 car of Daniel Passmore as we are once more on a swag replay.
Taking a look at what brings out our third swag yellow flag in the night. There you see Passmore with the slide, and Lee, they are able to stay relatively okay there. Oh, there's the second round of contact.
It's again one of those things where it starts at one end of the racetrack and it kind of just follows you around to the second. I mean, such is the way of dirt racing. I mean, once you start to get loose off of one corner, you never really are going to be safe until you get back around for really the next lap, because unlike asphalt racing, you don't have a lot of time to save it on these dirt ovals.
No, you really don't, and that's what leads to some of these drivers getting in trouble, and especially when you've had so many of these drivers like Will Duvall and Matt Lee who have spent so much time running asphalt as of late. When they get in the dirt, they don't have that reaction time that they do in the asphalt realm. So that's a problem I have when I race dirt once in a while. I don't race dirt very often, but I tend to find myself trying to drive the car like an asphalt car. You cannot do that in this track, in this style of racing. So that's why my dirt track success is limited to a couple of top 5s, and that's about it. And that just shows you just how tricky this is for these drivers wheeling these things around. And we still have a long way to go. 74 to go.
Well, your top 5s are still more than I have. I mean, I've got barely more than a couple finishes in cars like these. Great fly back into 3 wide for the second position, and already cars bottlenecking further down in the back. They are 4 wide off of turn number 2 for a brief moment further down the order. Look at the Hornet's Nest right now along the bottom side of the racetrack, really from 4th all the way on back. Oh. Contact is made. That's Fletcher. Maybe getting spun around. Not quite yet, but they're still making contact.
It was with Jack Smith. The contact was. I was watching Jack Smith in the 66 really trying to wheel it up on the cushion right now. Got another car in front of him. Rory in the wall again as Beaver slides up in front of Smith. Smith going to try to force the issue here on the outside, 3 wide. What a move here by Jack Smith, one of the B main runner-ups. Actually, no, he was the winner of the second B main, excuse me, trying to make his way up through the field into the top 10 for the first time tonight.
You know, this track really does look really wide with just one car running out of, but trust me, when you get 2-3 wide like this, it feels a lot tighter than it is, and no doubt a lot of these drivers really feeling the pressure right now as we look up to a 3-wide battle with Brett Rouse trying to fight the inside line. Jack Smith and Gregory Rory both hugging the outside line. Looks like Rory's actually going to try a bit of a middle line here, see if that'll work out for him, but it looks like Smith is going to get the momentum on him around the outside.
By the way, Nolan, James Grace started this race in 17th from the B main. He is up to second, has gotten around Tomasi. Second from 17th. What a run here from James Grace in this main event.
So James Grace really having a fantastic run at things, and no doubt trying to see if he could give Chris Fisher a run for his money. So far, Fisher has led just about every single lap of this race, and no doubt Grace will be trying to do the exact same thing.
Oh, we got
big. Oh, yeah, 2-3 cars upside down.
Yeah, that is a huge mess in turn number 1. We're under a swag yellow flag. In this one, we're going to take a look at the swag replay. See what in the world happened here.
And this started with some contact between the 17 and the 56. That's what started this whole mess. Sanders was just trying to go up the middle. They went 4 wide. 3 of them made contact and hard at the outside wall. Hunter Sanders got punted hard by Jamie Reed in the 47 car, and that sent him up into the air and over. He was not the only car to catch air, though. Among other drivers, he had Dustin Sizemore that also had a good bit of air as well, along with the 59 car too. Both of them were on top of other cars in that mess. So
a lot of airtime here in that particular incident. I believe I would say Sanders got the worst of it, but you know, you never know until you take a look at the cars to see exactly the case here. But we're under caution once again. 33 laps complete now. Chris Fisher has led pretty much the entirety of this race thus far, but how about James Grace? Started 17th coming in through the B main, and here he is in second position.
Indeed. So I think it is very admirable action when you look at how far up Grace has had to climb. I mean, it really is impressive. I mean, he had himself definitely not necessarily the best of the heat races. Started 4th, finished 4th. That started 1st place into C main, fell back to 3rd. That caused him to start 17th. Now up to 2nd. So we'll have to see now that the field's all bunched up. What does James Grace have for the driver who has been in control of this heat race for the entirety of the run so far? Chris Fisher out of the Plain States. We are back underway. The green flag is back in the air.
Watch that 66 of Jack Smith. As he's on the extreme outside right now in 4th. He's the B main winner. He's trying to get up there into the top 5. And as I say, he gets up near the wall. That allows drivers to make their move to the bottom, including Brad Dyer, the blue 56 up there. Remember, he was kind of in an incident not too long ago. He's fought back into the top 5.
And already look at this. Chris Fisher has held on to the lead, as in fact James Grace has actually fallen back to 3rd place now. Tomasi retakes 2nd place just up front of these guys. So and now Tomasi trying to gun for the racing. Could we see one of the first lead changes of the main event here, as Tomasi still struggling with an inside groove, and Fisher trying to fight the outside line, but it is going to be Tomasi that'll lead the stripe. So technically new leader, 10 on Tomasi.
So he leads the lap, and that again is your first official lead change of the night. Problem is, it's not done yet because Fisher is battling it out, and I say that's a problem only for Tomasi. That's great for us.
Oh, absolutely. Tomasi doing a fantastic job on, trying to maintain that race lead. Now, of course, it's one thing to take the race lead, it's another thing to keep it. We've seen a lot of these drivers, swap back and forth with the slide jobs throughout the heat races and the consolation races in this one.
Speaking of consolation races, 3 drivers from those consolation races have worked their way into the top 5. Jack Smith, Brad Dyer, James Grace, all 3 of them from the consolation main. And remember, it was Jack Smith winning the 2nd one of those consolation mains. He has worked his way up into 2nd now as he gets around Fisher.
Meanwhile, the battle is on for the 4th position, and we're looking at that right now on the screen. James Grace manages to pull free just a little bit. Brad Dyer still trying to fight the outside line. Robert Fletcher waiting quite impatiently just behind Grace, really riding the gearbox of that number 269 machine, and now he's going to try to find his way up the middle here. Question is, can Robert Fletcher make it work? Trying the middle line, but gets squeezed out and is forced to kind of back out. Trying to get it over under now on the bottom side of the racetrack.
Trying to get going on the inside is Fletcher as James Grace and Brad Dyer battle in front of them. Dyer now thinking middle once again, and this is allowing Trent Beaver to get back into the mix as well in the number 14. He's had an up and down day, but he's been inside the top 10 for most of it.
And we've had some trouble. Hunter Sanders has been sent around this time by, it was a mess between Mike Augustine and Cameron Kaysen that sent Hunter Sanders around. So a bit of a mess there. And that also sent Peyton Howell vaulting over one of the tractor tires in an effort to kind of go evasive around that mess. We're still green flag racing, though, as that did not, it did not pose a threat to the field.
Yeah, we stay green, and we're coming up, closing in on halfway in this one. And by the way, Nolan, I've been keeping my eye on the driver who started outside front row, Lucas Chowning. He is back in the top 10 after falling all the way back to around 18th position at the start of the race after catching the wall. Turn 1, lap 1. He has fought back slowly and methodically back into the top 10.
And that's what you got to do sometimes in races like these. I mean, this is, of course, a race that is on the long side when it comes to dirt racing. One more car around, and this time it will bring a yellow flag out. That was Brandon Gagnon, a 20th place driver that got sent around by your race leader as he was being lapped.
Hey, you can look at the swag replay.
And we're going to watch this one here as Gagnon dives it off the corner and just slides up a little bit in front of Tomasi. And I hate to say it, but I think Gagnon has to take a bit more blame for that one than Tomasi does. He did kind of push up right in front of him. Mike Augustine getting a wave around the pace car to get himself back a lap and pop himself onto the... I think that it is going to put him onto the lead lap now. And in fact, it will. So... Mike Augustine down from 20th place is back to the lead lap now, and he's right behind the cars that he just tangled earlier with Peyton Howell and Hunter Sanders.
Under caution, closing in on halfway here in this one, lap 46 of 100.
Indeed, lap 46 out of 100, so got about 46 laps down, and if my math is correct, that's going to make it about 54 to go. So once again, caution laps do not count, otherwise we would be well past the halfway point at this point. So right now, rounding the green flag, lap number 46, we are now stacked up and doubled up once more. The pace truck pulls it down to pit road. Tano Tomasi this time going to be the one to lead to the green. Can Chris Fisher, who's sitting in third, potentially fight back and get his lead back?
Green flag back in the air. 46, make it 47. Now, working now. Tomasi back out in front. Jack Smith, B-main winner, up on the outside right now. And here comes Fisher back to the inside after leading much of the early stages of this race. He has settled in nicely here, but here comes Jack Smith back on the outside to try to rail on the rail. He will ride the cushion through turns 1 and 2, able to clear Fisher. Fletcher and Dyer trying to get back up there in the top 5.
Only a couple drivers are really riding the wall now. Oh,
Caution.
Yellow flag back out in the air. That time it's Matthew Lee that got sent around. This was in turn 3 and 4, and it was this time an incident not of his own doing. It was Dustin Sizemore and Hunter Sanders that made contact, and unfortunately for the 04, there really just was nowhere to go. Also involved was Mike Augustine. I think Peyton Howell got a piece of the things right now. And I'll tell you what, Greg, from the sounds of what I'm hearing over the driver radios, quite a few unhappy campers right now on the speedway.
Yeah, they're not too happy with how this race is going right now. We are about a lap from halfway here in this 100 lap main event, as you saw there on the swag replay. What happened with Matt Lee? Terran Tomasi, after settling in, riding around in second for a while, has settled in nicely here in the race lead.
So Brandon Gagnon this time getting that lucky dog wave around the pace car. So now he is going to find himself back up onto the lead lap as well. That's what Gagnon wants to see. He is also going to catch into the tail end of the field. Should note that in the midst of all of these incidents that we've been seeing, only 3 cars so far have retired from the race. Those have been Brian Warner, who retired about 29 laps ago, Cody Slauson with 26 laps ago, and Darren Littoral 22 laps ago. Of course, those are green flag laps with yellow flag laps not counting. Welcome, by the way, if you are new to the broadcast. You are currently watching the World of Outlaws the World of Outlaws Pro Late Model Invitational presented by Swag. We're about 2 laps away from the halfway point, and we're about to go back green.
Gonna be halfway next time by at this one. We'll take the green flag and back to the line. As long as we're under green flag conditions, it'll be halfway. And still Tanner Tomasi leading the way here in this one. Back and under green. Watch Jack Smith, the cushion again.
And already they are looking very, very aggressive as here comes Jack Smith trying to pick the lead away from Tanner Tomasi. And here we are, 50 down, 50 to go at the dirt track at Charlotte. Smith now under fire from Chris Fisher for the second position.
So under fire, battle for second. Tomasi leading. But Smith able to clear for second. Fletcher, Dyer, James Grace, who remember he had battled up second. Ooh, and Chowning back in the wall again. After getting back up as high as 7th, he's in the wall again.
Yeah, Lucas Chowning not having the best of restarts. He's still continuing to kind of drop down positions and nearly gets taken out there by Trent Beaver, who had tried to push up right to the wall. Beaver now is under fire from Daniel Passmore as well. So some close calls here early on in this green flag run. But for now, though, things are still running clean and green all over the speedway.
Tomasi still trying to pull away, but Jack Smith getting up there. We're in the second half of this race. Fisher, Fletcher, and Grace, your top 5 right now. But it is a battle for the lead, Nolan, as Jack Smith riding the cushion again. He's got the run. This time he may have him.
Not quite there. Tomasi managed to get him on the jump on the inside line. This really is a case of inside versus outside. Smith forced to check up, though, to avoid hitting the outside wall too hard that time. Smith is not even riding the cushion. He's riding the wall itself. The rear wing's actually kind of glancing off it every time. He's really trying to take as wide of a line as possible to make sure he's carrying the most amount of speed throughout the corners.
Smith trying to get a run on the outside. Might he try the inside here? No, it looks like he is inclined to ride the cushion until the cows come, because he is on the outside. Fisher trying to get back into the mix as well. And Smith, this might be his Achilles heel, not switching up to the inside there, because back to the inside comes Fisher.
Yes, indeed, and we're going to see what happens here with Smith as now Chris Fisher's in the mix. So it's about a 3-car battle for the race lead now, and now Tomasi goes back to the inside line. Smith still running that top line, so clearly Smith a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident running the outside line than he is the inside. You got Chris Fisher still trying to look up the inside as well.
Yeah, Fisher trying to get up there. 3 cars here. Caution, swag replay, or swag yellow flag.
It's Will Duvall this time. They get spun round to the number 32 machine for, I believe, the second time tonight. So Will Duvall this time getting punted by Brett Rowles in the number 17.
Taking a look at the swag replay. A couple members of Team LSR TV right here, Will Duvall and Brett Rawls. 2 members of our broadcast crew. Oh, and yep, just some contact.
will say it has been it's a very harmless spin at that, and that's the thing. A lot of these wrecks have actually been, pretty harmless spins. We haven't seen too many, very, very devastating wrecks throughout this one, as Brett Rowell's given an end of the line penalty for this one, so he's going to be dropping back to the end of the order. Of course, no lucky dog wave around this time because there is nobody on the track to give it to.
Under a swag yellow flag once again. 59 complete. So getting close to the nitty-gritty time. We're not there yet, Nolan, but we're getting close to where if you're in around 10th or 9th, it's time to go. You may even want to think about going here on this restart with just 40 to go.
Well, especially since this is not the easiest of dirt tracks to pass on. I mean, it is far from it. It's very, very difficult to pass in cars like these at a track like these where you're really always turning. You have to set the passes up. You need a lot of time to do those too. So if you know you're going to get a long green flag run, you absolutely need to run and push as hard as you can on these restarts. Green flag is back in the air. Tomasi leads them away.
Smith still trying to ride the cushion to the lead, and Smith has been up on the cushion pretty much this entire race, Nolan, so we'll see how it goes from here. Meanwhile, Grace back to 5th now as Fletcher able to get by him at the line. Trent Bieber hanging there as well.
Caution flag back out on the speedway. Did not take a long time. That time it looks like it might have been Brandon Gagnon, and in fact it was. This time he ended up getting to the outside wall. This was an incident accumulated from turn 4. As we go to the swag replay, we'll walk you through this one here. This happened off a turn number 4 between Will Duvall and Brandon Gagnon. It was a little bit of contact coming off of turn number 4. You're right about there was the contact. That sends Gagnon to the inside, back to the outside, sliding across the track, and bouncing off of the outside wall. Good job of the field, though, to somehow avoid him as he slid back up. So just 40 laps remaining here in this one to kind of reset your top 5 right now. It is looking to be Tano Tomasi still in first place, Jack Smith 2nd, Chris Fisher 3rd, Robert Fletcher 4th, James Grace still running in that 15th position, running from 17th, and he's now up to 5th. Likewise for Jack Smith, 14th, and he is now up to 2nd place as well. You are watching the World of Outlaws Late Model Invitational presented by Swag. My name is Nolan Rempel. Joining me is, of course, Greg Renz, bringing you the action so far from the drop of the green flag of our first of 4 heat races tonight, and it certainly has been a calamity-filled race at that, Greg.
It absolutely has, Nolan, and we clicked off a few laps in this race, and we thought, okay, we might get some lap times here, but boy, that's been cautions breed cautions from here on. The last 20, 30 laps or so have just been cautions breed cautions.
And you got to remember as well, it really is not going to be one of those incidents where you need to do a whole lot of, worrying about time. These drivers still do have about an hour on the clock left to work with as well to get in another 40 laps. Meanwhile, the green flag is back in the air and we are underway. Jack Smith clears for 2nd place around Chris Fisher, who no doubt is still going to be trying to work that inside groove.
Fisher trying to make a move on the inside. Caution again, and we only got 1 lap in there.
That was Mike Augustine this time. This was a 3-wide incident between himself and Brett Rowells, the 2 drivers that made contact, and Dustin Sizemore, an innocent bystander this one. And drivers still most certainly not pleased with each other right now, especially as a result of that one, as we are now on the swag replay. My goodness, I mean, this has certainly been a bit of a messy one, and certainly in recent laps. I mean, you talk about some other series that have had similar races go this way. I mean, the Matrix series and their Silver Crown race. Just earlier today, a Luke Shaw Raceway comes to mind for sure.
Definitely, we've definitely had some interesting ones here on LSR TV, and Unfortunately, with these races, when cautions breed cautions like this, it just gets longer and longer. The good news is we still have just under an hour left in the time limit, so we're still in good shape there. But the more and more cautions we get with caution laps not counting, the more and more we get to the stage that might not be the case.
And race control just giving the drivers a pretty firm lecture to start smartening up over the speedway. So it's going to be a single file restart then for the looks of things, because they did not make it a lap. We'll have to see if that little lecture has done the trick here. It is once again going to be in the hands of Tanner Tomasi to lead them around to the green flag. Jack Smith already looking for the inside and gives a bit of a jump, kind of bump start him here as we're off and underway, side by side for third.
Now here's the thing with the single file, will Jack Smith continue to ride the cushion? He does through 1 and 2. Jack Smith has been on the cushion the entire race here as he is on the outside here on the wall, but Fisher trying to get a move back on the inside. Smith continues to ride the cushion. Fisher is in fourth now as Fletcher has gotten around him. Up front though, still Tanner Tomasi.
So this is going to be very intense here to see how these battles are going to shape themselves up. Brandon Gagnon still fighting it out with Chris Fisher just behind him. Trent Beaver glances off the wall as well in the 6th place as he's trying to find his way back to the inside line. You really do have this massive 4-car battle here for that 4th position, and they're about to get caught up here with about a second place between Jack Smith as Robert Fletcher gives him a shot to the rear.
That's going on for the 2nd position as Tomasi is pulled away. It is still a side-by-side battle between Smith and Fletcher, and now Trent Beaver starting to come back up as well. He's trying to split through the middle here.
Oh boy, and he's really trying to squeeze away up the middle. Didn't quite work out for him. Had to back out of that one to avoid a big mess. And now he's trying to find the inside of 3 wide here. Trent Beaver finds him in the middle. Look at this massive slider from Trent Beaver on James Grace, but Grace finds his way back up the inside. So that was a big and bold slider that did not quite pay off for him.
Did not work out. Brad Dyer lurking on Beaver right now. Grace on the outside here. Or no, he's on the inside. Fisher on the outside as they continue the battle. This is going on for 5th, and Beaver and Dyer right there as well. Grayson Wells, another one of our B-main drivers, quietly up in the top 10 right now, but up front, Tomasi has opened it up a full 1.8 seconds, almost 2 seconds now, as he's coming up on some lap traffic.
And 4 wide now in this battle for third. Trent Beaver is now finding his way to fire. Brad Dyer is finding himself in the mix of things. They went 4 wide down the front straightaway. So this battle is really picking up, and it is nowhere near finished yet, as now they're going to get themselves double filed out again. But 4 wide, even for a straightaway, is certainly always a risky move.
Still battling 3rd through 6th right now. Still trying to sort it out for that 3rd and final spot on the podium here tonight in this inaugural event of the World of Outlaws Invitational, brought to you by Swag.
And right now, this really is the biggest battle on the track right now, as now Beaver has managed to clear himself of Brad Dyer and is trying to still find his way up the inside of James Grace. But right now, does not have anything for him. But here comes Brad Dyer once again trying the inside. And I don't know where Dyer's finding the speed around the bottom, but he certainly is making it work. I mean, he's pulling it perfectly right now around Trent Beaver. And he's no doubt going to be trying to do the same thing around James Grace if he can get to him.
Tomasi still leading the way, but Grace, Beaver, and company all still battling, trying to reel back in Fletcher.
And they are just now getting around, of course, Peyton Howell, 18th place, now 1 lap down as well. So now we're getting to the point where lap traffic is in the mix. Well, one driver's off and into the infield. That is Will Duvall.
B-main winner getting out of the way right in front of our leader. Great job there by everybody involved to not have an incident, as we are 3/4 of the way through this race, or race 25 laps to go.
25 to go, and at this point as a driver, it really does start to look like it is crunch time. So this is going to get very, very intense here, as now we get to see just how desperate some of these drivers are going to be as things go on.
Tomasi about 2 seconds ahead still of Jack Smith, who's in lap traffic. It's 3 seconds back to Fisher, Fletcher, and company. That battle is still heating up right now. This incredible 5-car battle between Fisher, Fletcher, Grace, Beaver, and Dyer. They're all still battling it out from 3rd to 7th right now. Slicing and dicing late in the going. It is incredible.
It really is a big 5-car fight here for this final podium position. And at this point, it is anybody's game as you got these 5 cars in a group. And now we're coming up on 20 to go, 21 as of right now at the lines. We're about to enter the final 5th of the race. Still catching lap traffic. There's Dustin Sizemore. They're trying to dice the way around now. Oh, he's going to get doored as well down the track. So Dustin Sizemore, 16th place. Nobody's showing him any favors here. They're splitting left, right, and center, trying to find a way. Oh, look out. That is Brad Dyer that's just been sent around. And as we reach 20 to go, the yellow flag is back out in the air, and guess what? He clipped one of the tractor tires.
We've seen that here a couple of times tonight. Drivers clipping those tractor tires. One of those things with dirt racing on iRacing you gotta watch for. So Matt Dyer was up in the mix of that, and unfortunately could end his night here as he is going to have to fall to the back.
So 19 laps to go once we take the green flag once again. Tanner Tomasi is leading, and Jack Smith was trying to run that cushion the entire way around the track, but he was not finding any kind of momentum around there anymore after the first few laps. Just could not get the car hooked up on the top side. So if you're Jack Smith now, and you know you're running out of time, do you start thinking about trying something new?
You almost have to. The problem is Smith has been riding the cushion since the drop of the green flag, so we haven't even seen him try the bottom yet, so we don't know how his car does on the bottom right now. So if you're Jack Smith, you got to start trying to make different moves just to try to see if anything's working, because the way that last run went, it was pretty clear that Tomasi had the advantage on him.
And a couple drivers are getting waved around the pace car because they were one lap down. Among those were Peyton Howell, Mike Augustine as well getting waved around. I see Hunter Sanders as well getting waved around as the field starts to get doubled up again. Lights are out on the pace truck, so we get set to go racing for the final 5th of tonight's race.
20 laps to go. Shootout time here at the Charlotte Dirt Track. Tanner Tomasi looking to lock it up. But he's got Jack Smith on the outside, coming the green flag in the air.
Beautiful, beautiful jump. Jack Smith caught napping. He's lost 2nd place. He's down to 3rd now. Grace is going to be down the inside, and now 3 wide to 2nd position. Contact behind. Smith pounds the 77. They're banging doors again. In turn number 3, 1 car slide in the back, but they managed to hang on to it. And Robert Fletcher picks up the 4th position. A disastrous restart for Jack Smith.
And he's still riding the cushion, and he's trying to make his way back up there. 4 wide off of turn number 2. Look at Trent Beaver up there in that bright white number 14. Grayson Wells inside there. Also up there, I believe that is Fletcher. They're all battling it out right now. This is all going on from about 3rd to back to 8th or so now, as Chowning coming back up in the mix, the outside pole sitter.
Lucas Chowning, indeed, he's finally put himself back up into the top 10. He's up to 7th place right now, and no doubt trying to stay there as he continues to round his way around this racetrack. The close fight right now is between James Grace and Jack Smith. Smith still running the top side. You got James Grace running the bottom. Chris Fisher has not been able to catch down with Tomasi on the restart. Tomasi has just checked out of the field, but they're still duking it out for these lower spots within the top 10.
They're still battling it out. Not missing anything up front as Tomasi continues to check out right now. Now back over Fisher, who has fought back up to 2nd. Fisher, remember, led the first half of the race almost. 1.4 seconds now. Tomasi all by himself, and he's trying different things here. He's still searching for the fast way around this track with the ever-changing track surface.
Like you said at the top of the broadcast, Greg, the track changes every time you go around. It's never the same thing twice. So that is one of the challenges of dirt track racing. No doubt a lot of these drivers trying to do battle are really feeling that challenge right about now as still trying to fight hard between a couple of these drivers. Some drivers still bounce off the wall, others still trying to find momentum, as there is one battle that's been going on for the entirety of this run. They're still trying to go 3 wide. It's the battle for 9th place right now. Brad Dyer just fell out of that battle, but right now Brett Rouse is still side by side with Gregory Rory.
Battles all over the track right now, but none for the race lead. It's from third on back, and it's actually beginning to settle down quite a bit now as everyone is spaced out just a little bit, as we got a battle going on between James Grace and Trent Beaver for 4th, as Grace still trying to hold the line. 10 to go as Tanner Tomasi opening it up 1.8 seconds now.
Roy just picked up another spot, this one on Grayson Wells. Now he's into the outside wall, 3 wide down the back straightaway in the battle for 9th place. Robert, and it looks like the battles are still picking on up. Gregory Roy trying to fight back now down the front straightaway. Here comes Brad Dyer pushing his way back to the base. The 17 car, Brett Rouse, is just trying to hold these drivers at bay, but here comes Grayson Wells trying to fight around that outside line.
Tomasi still leading, but battle is going on here between Wells, Rawls, Rory and company. Dyer in there as well, fighting back after hitting the tractor tire. Closing stages here at Charlotte, and these 4 cars are still battling it out. This is for 8th to 11th.
Less than 10 laps to go now. We are truly in the crunch time stage of this race, and right now all these drivers are no doubt feeling the pressure. 2nd and 1st place have checked out. The biggest battle position. Oh, big contact, and that might be another yellow flag. It is going to be a yellow flag as one car gets sent around.
Another car gets into him.
Sanders as well. Hunter Sanders actually had his own self-spin in the mess of that as well.
Trying to figure out who else that was who piled in, taking a look at a swag replay. Looking at Sanders in the 44 right now.
And this was a spin for Sanders all on his lonesome in the back. Absolutely no help at all. As for the incident further up front, that was again 3 wide, and Rowles just came way up and slammed in the Rory in the 16 car. Came back down across Brad Dyer, got spun round by the 59 to Grayson Wells. We look at that incident now. And you were talking about who was the one that got involved. It was Cameron Kaysen that came flying in with absolutely nothing that he could have done.
Yeah, Cameron Kaysen getting involved as well. So, shootout time here as we take one more look at it. Rawls and Rory getting together, and Dyer getting the worst of it. There's Kaysen piling in. So 6 to go here. Chris Fisher and Jack Smith are going to have one final shot, try to get at Tanner Tomasi.
Yes, indeed. We are very much now in crunch time. There is no time to be conservative anymore, and it is going to be a single file restart for what we hope to be the final restart of the race. What can Chris Fisher do with Tanner Tomasi? He was in the lead for so much earlier in the race. He's trying to reclaim it now. Tomasi, though, he is no doubt not going to give it up without a fight. The green flag drops were off and away.
Tomasi getting out to the lead here. 5 laps to go for Tanner Tomasi. Trying to pull away from Chris Fisher one last time as they continue the battle. 3 wide for 3rd. Trent Beaver trying to get up now into the 3rd spot.
Beaver's doing a good job. He's up to 3rd now, but he's not out of the woods yet. Here comes James Grace trying to fight the inside. Now potentially 3 over versus the 2nd position as Fisher finds himself under fire.
Yeah, Fisher slid up the track there as Grace comes fighting back on the inside. Beaver 3 wide in the middle. They're still fighting it out as Tomasi pulls away. Just 3 laps to go. Tanner Tomasi pulling away, but they're still 3 wide. Fisher, Beaver, Grace.
Indeed, and right now Trent Beaver is having an absolute run at things right now. Just 3 laps left to go. Trent Beaver trying to clear the outside, trying to clear the low side, but Chris Fisher not under the fight. They both make contact, and Fisher's into the outside wall.
But he keeps it going, pointed in the right direction. Going to be the white flag this time by as Grace gets a nose out in front into turn number 3. White flag for Tanner Tomasi. He's leading, but it is still 3 wide for 2nd in the final spots on the podium.
Tomasi doesn't have to do a whole lot, just got to try to make this race clean. Here comes Tanner Tomasi, the final corners through turns number 3 and 4. It's going to be Tanner Tomasi to win the Invitational here at Watkins Glen International. Drag Race now for the second position. Grace hangs on to the second spot. Trent Beaver, still a very, very impressive third position.
Wild night here at the Charlotte Dirt Track, and Tanner Tomasi picks it up for race number 1, hopefully of more, for the World of Outlaws Invitational, brought to you by Swag. And Tanner Tomasi, a big win here tonight.
And on that note, I think it is safe to say that we can now take a look at our post-race results in your 100-lap feature event. And well, a good run for Tanner Tomasi, who comes home with the race win. James Grace in second place. Trent Beaver finishes out the podium in third place. Chris Fisher has to settle for fourth. Lucas Chowney rounds out the top 5. Robert Fletcher in sixth place. Gregory Roy ended up not moving a whole lot down to 7th place. Jack Smith, one of the bigger moves of the race, from 14th up to 8th. Brett Rowles in 9th place. Grayson Wells rounds out the top 10, Greg.
Brad Dyer fighting back twice after incidents to getting up into 11th. Daniel Passmore comes home in 12th, with Cameron Kaysen was caught up in the incident late. 13th, Mike Augustine and Hunter Sanders round out the top 15. Peyton Howell in the number 20 in 16th, and you got Dustin Sizemore, Will Duvall, Brandon Gagnon, and Matthew Lee rounding out the top 20. Nolan, other drivers finishing it out: Jamie Reed, Darren Littoral, Cody Slauson, and rounding out the field was Brian Warner.
And while we wait for your podium finishers to see if they're going to come on down and give us a little bit of a chit-chat, we're going to take another quick break, rest our voices up, and we'll be back with your post-race coverage right after we take ourselves just a little break. Stick around. And welcome back to the Dirt Track at Charge of the Clan Wars post-race show here in the World of Outlaws late model invitational presented by Swag Nolan Rempel with Greg Rentz beside me today in the booth. It has been a thrilling event here tonight, and well, a couple drivers have decided to come over and give us a little talk. Let's kick things off with your race winner of not just the 100-lap feature race, but as well as $100 today, Tanner Tomasi, standing by with me today. Tanner, it was a good event overall. You won your heat race. You started third overall, came back to win the race in commanding fashion. What was your secret?
Man, I don't know. I just found that line whenever I fell back to fourth. I found a little happy line on the bottom. I decided to roll with that, and I spent more time on the bottom than I think anybody else did. So I just got used to that bottom, got used to how to be fast there, and we were able to pull away a bit.
One of the difficulties that we were talking about a little bit throughout this broadcast was the fact that the track is constantly changing every single lap that goes by, especially from the heat races to the feature. The track is always going to be different, and every lap it gets harder and harder to drive. Did you find that was the case as you were going on throughout this one? Because you were making it look easy out there.
Oh yeah, midway through I saw old Jack was running the top pretty well and he was catching me, so I decided to give my hand up top and try it out, and it didn't work out too well for me, so I just stuck to the bottom and hoped that I could get a bit better on the bottom and start pulling away again.
Well, I think it's safe to say then that tonight was very much a success for your campaign. Of course, led a vast portion of the race. Talk a little bit, though, about some of your battles that you are having with some of the other drivers, particularly Chris Fisher and particularly, I think, Jack Smith as well. You were having a bit of an interesting scrap with Smith because we were seeing quite a bit, the real contrast between running the low line and running the high line when he was trying to get by you for the position. How are you fending them off? Because it's common knowledge usually that the outside line is the place you want to be to get the momentum.
Yeah, man, those two were just rocking the top so much better than I could, so I just kept it down bottom, and whenever I saw Jack keep getting them runs on 3 and 4, I wanted to make sure I could come off and block his momentum so I could get a better run out of 1 and 2 than he could.
Well, sometimes sticking to the bottom just so happens to be the secret, and it was certainly your secret to get a race win and $100 into your pocket here tonight. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank to help you be fast in that number 09?
Oh yeah, for sure. You guys for putting all this up for the race, and D1RT Racing, those guys do so much for me. I wouldn't be able to run the way I do if it weren't for those guys, Dylan Wilson and them. Rusty Slank Racing, Domination Chassis, Domination Race Cars, Buckeye Concrete and Coating, Reliable Energy Solutions, Jeff Swilly over there, he does a lot for me too, and like I said, you guys are putting up all this.
And thank you, Tanner, for taking the time to come and join us tonight. Congratulations on your race win.
Thank you.
And now going to move things right along here in the post-race show to your runner-up and the hard charger of the race, Greg Rentz. You're standing by with James Grace.
Yeah, and James Grace, it was a wild night for you. You started 17th after racing your way through the B main. We were under caution. We looked up, and all of a sudden we realized, hey, B main driver James Grace just worked his way into second. How did you do that?
I've always had a lot of luck. I like Charlotte. It's a great track. I got my setup dialed in, and I mean dialed in. During the warm-up, I was second quickest, and I just kept the car where I needed it to be, drove it real gentle on the throttle, tried to save everything I could. And then those last 5 laps, man, I got stuck down on the bottom. We were racing 3 wide for a second there, and the car just took off, and I found another 1/10 of a second that I'd been missing. So I was just, I just stuck it there and kept it there and let it do its job, and it definitely pulled it off.
So, James, tell us about this battle that was going on. You pulled away from it there at the end, but for a while you were in a hornet's nest there with 5 or 6 other cars, just swapping positions, slide job after slide job, riding the cushion, riding down on the bottom. Just tell us about what's going through your mind when you're in that battle, just battling it out with so many different drivers, and it seems like you got someone throwing a move at you every corner.
Well, a lot of what was on my mind being buried down on the bottom was like that was just don't hit a tire. Come up if I need to, but my biggest thing was just keeping that nose out of those tires, because that's what ends your night right there. And I kept hearing 3 wide, you're on the bottom, 3 wide, you're on the bottom, and it just, all I could do was keep it as low as I could, because I knew if I tried to come up, I was getting smashed.
Well, you mentioned that you really like Charlotte here, the inaugural event for the World of Outlaws Invitational, and hopefully we're able to get things going here and make this a common thing, because I think you proved that if we do, you're going to be right in the mix of it.
Yeah, man, I'm really hoping so. I'm really glad you guys put this event on. I'm really happy to be here and be invited to it. You know, LSR TV, BJ Duvall, all the guys that are behind the scenes on this, making it happen.
All right, anyone else you want to thank on the second place finish?
Yeah, you know, I got to give a shout out to my sponsors. I got Mimi's Makings in Motion. They've been backing me for quite a while. Really thankful for them. Speedy's Tire Setup Specialist, and Apex subsidiaries. You know, these guys, every single one of them, since I started doing this, they've all supported me, and I do everything I can to prove that I'm worth supporting. So, and then I also want to give a shout out to my grandmother. She tunes in once in a while and watches these races, and my friend Renee.
Second place, James Grace, the hard charger of tonight's 17th in the B main, to second. Great job.
Thank you.
And Nolan, right now we still have no sign of Trent Beaver in third, so looks like as of now, tentatively, that's going to wrap up our post-race interviews here on our Clan Wars post-race show.
Certainly will, and unfortunately with those words, it is going to be time for us to, you know, close off the broadcast today as well. I will say this has been an absolutely thrilling race, from the drop of the flag in heat race number 1 all the way through the 4 heats, the 2 consolation races, right through the checker flag of the feature. It was non-stop action from start to finish, and I expect no less from the super late models at such a fine venue. So with that, we are going to close things out for today. I have been Nolan Rempel, bringing you coverage of today's presentation, with Greg Rentz beside me in the commentary box and Cody Wooten behind the cameras in the producer's chair. We thank you once again for joining us here on LSR TV for the World of Outlaws Late Model Invitational presented by Swag, and we'll see you all next time.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of 52 Media LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.